You know it is actually how you meant to use one of those.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, apparently that's how you meant to use it. I'm going to keep that in. Hello and welcome back, and today we're going to show you how to turn this runny honey into this soft set honey. This is how we do it. Today we are going to do our very own soft set honey, on how we go about making it from start to finish. So at the moment we only supply runny honey, and a lot of our honey at the moment kind of looks a little bit like that. It's kind of gone crystallized and it's very coarse, the crystals, and it makes it very difficult to get out of the jar. Whereas soft set honey is like, they did used to call it creamed honey, but I think they had to stop calling it creamed honey because it was misleading to consumers. Anyway, so I'm going to go about making these crystals spreadable, because as I say, at the moment it's not going anywhere, and it's not runny either, which is not ideal. So we'll go through the step-by-step process. It does take a while, but once we have what you call our seed honey, then it makes the following processes a lot easier and a lot quicker, if that makes sense. So we'll get right onto it. So the method that we are going with today is what they call the dice method. If you want to look it up, I think it's spelled D-Y-C-E, and it's all about mixing in the crystal size that you want into a bigger amount of runny honey that we have. So I'm going to measure out how much I can fit, and we'll go from there. But things that you will need if you're going to do this at home, which I learned the hard way because I thought you just had to use a paddle, but there's another way apparently. So there are two ways that you can do this. One, you can either buy some soft set honey from a supermarket or from another local beekeeper and then use that to mix in. I don't have any of that, so we're going to use 100% our own honey within this soft set. So if you are going to do your own honey, you will need a pestle and mortar, I think that's what it's called, and this is literally just so you can grind the honey down, and there's quite a bit of weight on that. So we shall turn that on, make sure it's on 0. But as you see, it's just very coarse and it takes a fair bit to get our spoon into it. Oh dear, this is where we start making a bit of a mess, which is when I start getting told off. But you can definitely see the crystal size just on its own without having to even taste it. So we'll pop that in there. Hopefully I can get a decent amount, but that's kind of the sort that we don't want our honey to be. But that's what will happen if your honey will set on its own. It naturally does crystallise. It's still perfectly good to eat. It's just not the nicest thing to spread on like your toast or just have a spoonful of. And it's definitely not spreadable. That's 89 grams. If I try and get 100, it makes it a little bit easier. 95. Oh, perfect. So we got 100 grams in there at the moment, and it's important to know how much you've got in there, because when you're doing the dice method you need to have 10% seed honey and 90% runny honey. Obviously you can do more seed honey to runny honey, it just makes it a lot quicker, but then you've got to repeat the process a lot more, if that makes sense. So that's what we're starting out with, and all we got to do is use our mortar or pestle or whatever this bit's called, and we just start grinding it down. Apparently this does take quite some time as well, so I'll make a start, probably come back in 5 minutes and we'll see what the coloration and the grain size is like. That's what we're starting off with, so we'll make a start. Oh, this is going to be difficult. side now. So it's now been about 5 minutes, and you can see there's a little bit of a colour difference, and it's a bit more malleable now. But I've noticed this grindy thing is too short for my hand, so I'm getting a bit sticky and it's very difficult. But we'll keep on going. I can still see the crystals, so they're still too big, but it's definitely changing its structure. Now I've been going for probably about half hour, and the consistency is definitely getting there now. There's still a few crystals knocking about, so I think I'll keep on going, but I found a nice easy way to do it. It's just to move it around like that, so my hands aren't getting sticky, and it's actually doing quite a good job. So hopefully we're not too far away now, but it's definitely becoming more like a creamed honey, which is nice.
You know it is actually how you meant to use one of those.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, apparently that's how you meant to use it. I'm going to keep that in. Oh. Well, I'm just stupid then. Right, we've now found our consistency of what we want, and it now looks like that. If you can probably even see it, probably not. It is quite silky smooth now, which is quite nice. If I can, I'll put the picture of what it was like compared to what it is like now. It's a really nice creamy looking colour, very silky. But now just need a wet cloth, because around the edges it's kind of where it overspilled, where the big crystals have gone, because when we decant this into the runny honey, we don't want any of those large crystals in there, otherwise what we've been doing for the past hour would have all been for nothing. So I'll just wipe it down. Okay, so we have our seed honey in here. I've got my kilogram of honey in here. I was going to put it in a bucket, but I just realised not much point, because I don't have to do too much to this. So we're just going to pour. I mean, look at the colour difference. You got that compared to that. It's pretty cool. Anyway, so we're just going to pour that in there. Let's have a look at the top. Look at that. Look at the colour difference. So as I say, you could do this with less runny honey and it will make soft set honey a lot quicker, but you're going to have to keep on doing this process. Whereas I don't mind waiting for the honey to kind of fully set. Look at that. I'm hoping this actually makes quite nice soft set honey, because it takes a long time to grind it all down. But I mean, this is so smooth as well. I can't taste any crystals on that. That is bloody lovely stuff. And we just mix it in. And you don't want to mix it in too fast. You're not trying to get air into the honey. You're just trying to spread that seed honey all the way. I'm not going to have to do this one-handed. So that there is now what it looks like, which from pictures and videos of what I've seen online, that looks about right. So hopefully all I've done is literally just move the spoon around just to really get the crystals to move about. But hopefully that's kind of my job done now. So what I'll do, I'll put some cling film over the top of this, because obviously I've not got a lid for a jug, and I'll just leave it for, I don't know, a week maybe, and come back to it, and hopefully that seed honey has then spread throughout all of the bulk honey that's in here, and fingers crossed we'll then have a kilogram of soft set honey, which will then become our seed honey for 10 kilograms of honey. So that's kind of why I did 100 grams to start off with. It just makes the maths a little bit easier. So yeah, we'll come back in a week's time, and hopefully we'll have some soft set honey that's kind of ready to go, which will be very exciting. But I'll save that for Dad to try. But that is remarkable. Never really been a fan of soft set honey that I've had in the shop, but this stuff, again, I think it's just because it's got our honey in it. It's got the proper taste. It just makes it so worthwhile. Right, I'll clean up, put some cling film on, and I think we'll call it a day. I mean, it is currently snowing outside as well, which is exciting. Right, we'll reconvene next week. Okay, we are back. It has been, I think, about a week since we've done the soft set honey, and this is the result. And I tell you what, it's the smoothest thing I've ever tasted. And that's it now. And as you can see, if I hold it up, it's fully set, but it's soft, which is the main thing. Now, I don't know if you're meant to, I think you're meant to heat this seed honey up a little bit, not massively, just a little bit, enough to stir, so we can mix it in. I don't know, I'll have to Google it. Now we've got about 1 kilogram of soft set honey here, which is now our seed honey. I've still got a 30-pound bucket of our runny honey. So what I'm going to do, the soft set honey that's just up there is going to be enough to make 10 kilograms of soft set honey. So that 1 kilogram can go into 10 kilograms. It has to be 10% of the runny honey equivalent, or 10% of the ratio. So that's why when we measured it to start off with, we started with 100 grams, turn that into 1,000 grams, and now we're going to turn it into 10,000 grams. Well, that's 10.78 kilograms in there. Wow! That's loads of honey. Well, maybe I'll just decant a little bit left in there. And then
Yeah. That'll be enough. Ooh, hang on.
What's on the edge? That should be it. Well, that's 9.72. I am warming it up ever so slightly, just to make it mix a lot easier. But you got to be careful not to melt it down, otherwise all that hard work that we put in at the start, all that grinding, would have been for nothing. And we have our 10 kilogram mark. Didn't actually realise how much it was going to be, so I thought we were going to use it in there, but obviously not. So yeah, that's 10 kilograms in there ready to go. Just warming it up ever so slightly, so starting to move now. So I think a little bit more time in there, and then we're ready to go. I've shown you our drill bit that we got for, was it £15, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So there was a couple of paddles on there, but we thought this would be quite nice because it just mixes everything quite nicely around. But yeah, 15 quid though for stainless steel grade. How tempted were we to get the paint mixer from B&Q?
Very tempted, but I think
Has to be food grade. Oh, has to be food grade.
yes. And it fits on the drill.
And it does fit on the drill. And we got a meaty battery for it as well. So hopefully that will last us. But I think we have to mix it 3 or 4 times. So you let it rest, and then mix, then rest, and then mix. See how that's now starting to move? Now, as you can see, it is of the texture we want. We haven't fully melted it down. You can still see the coloration of it. That is so satisfying. So our seed honey is now done. We've weighed out what we need. We'll move into the other room. It's slightly warmer in there, and the honey's a little bit cold, but I think it'll be alright. And we'll start mixing. So to start off with, you want to start slowly, I believe, because we don't want to mix air into the honey, because otherwise it'll just froth up and get bubbly. That's 1 kilogram of seed honey into 10 kilograms of runny honey. Like I said, the ratio apparently is quite important. You can put in less runny honey and it will make quicker, but you have to do the process more and more, or you can do it how we're doing it, where it'll take a little bit longer to process, but once it's set, then we're there. So now the process starts. Yes, slower. Put straight in.
Oh, didn't think that was going to happen.
Ah. Didn't actually realise how...
There's a lot of resistance.
You can see it now mixing. And then we have it. So that is the first mix. We've been going for about 10-15 minutes. It's very, very gloopy. Probably best to warm the runny honey up just a little bit, just so you can get the drill going, because that drill is working very hard. So we'll pop the lid back on it and just leave it to set. Right, this is the second time we are spinning or mixing the seed honey in, and it is definitely a two-man job with this honey, because it is thick. Now done 2 mixes now, and that is what the honey is looking like. So it's getting there. It's definitely becoming a little bit easier to mix up now, with that honey just becoming the same consistency, which is quite a relief on us and a relief on the drill. Definitely 101 how to kill a drill is use it to mix honey. So yeah, we'll let that rest for another hour and a half, and then we'll give it one last spin, one last mix, and then we'll jar it. So yeah, there's enough, so 10 kilos there, so that'll be enough for, what is that, 40 jars, 8-ounce jars I think. But we'll hold back another kilogram and use that for our seed next time, which will be this coming season, which is, yeah, so it just, once you've made your seed, that's the hardest part, is doing it from scratch, I think, which you don't have to do. You can use other honeys that are soft set, and you can just mix that in, but I want this to be like 100% our own honey, and it just tastes amazing as well. It's just, yeah, traceability, that's what it is. Traceability. We'll let that rest now for another few hours, and we'll come back, mix it and jar it. See you in a bit. Right, and that is it. That is, I think we got 40 jars of honey, or 40 jars of soft set honey from that batch. We jarred it up last week, so it's had a week to set, and as you can see, it has completely set solid. Well, I say solid, it is actually very creamy. So we tried one of the tester pots, and it is, I'm very pleased with it, to be honest, very pleased. So all that's left to do now is to label them. So I need to design some more labels, or I'll get Maddie to design some more labels, and yeah, well, that's it. So we do have a small batch of soft set honey, and we have got our seed honey as well for this year. So we'll see how it goes. We started off with 40 because we set aside a certain amount, because we did want to try doing our soft set honey, but that is kind of how you do it. So I hope you've enjoyed it. So yeah, if that was any help, or if I missed a step, or if you do it differently, put it down in the comments. I want to know how you do it differently, or if we do it exactly the same, or if there's a completely different method. Who knows? That is 100% smooth. You know, obviously the runny honey is really nice as a standalone piece, but this, I mean, we had it on some toast, and it is so easy to spread, and it stays on the toast, which that jar of honey doesn't. But it's really something to try. If you haven't tried soft set honey before, go out, try it. Costs the same price as the runny honey for some reason, even though there's another process involved. I still can't quite get my head around that. So yeah, we'll be selling these at £6.50 as well. I'm just not entirely sold that all the work that we put into that, it should be the same price as the runny honey, where we just extract in the jar, whereas this you extract and then you gotta, I then have to dice it up or mulch it up, mix it in, then let it set. So yeah, there's another process, so I don't quite know why people have to sell it at the same price, but if we go above, we're not going to sell it. So yeah, that is the end of today's video. If you did enjoy it, please do give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and we shall see you in the next one. It is the end of January. We've just had a storm, and we have got blue sky, but it is wet. It's very wet. So spring's around the corner. January blues nearly over. We're coming into February, the shortest month, and then March, hopefully, we'll start doing some beekeeping again, and let the joys of beekeeping begin, I suppose. But yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.